Hi everyone, welcome back. It's Laura. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. We're doing another Christmas DIY project. This one is going to be Krampus themed. Krampus, like not just Krampus the legend and lore, Krampus the movie. I love that movie. If you haven't seen it, it is freaking amazing. It's one of the best Christmas horror movies ever. So highly recommend. We're going to do a project today based around the little gingerbread guys, the little Gingerdead men, whatever you want to call them. I have my shirt on. I'm ready. So let's do a gingerbread Krampus themed situation. Let's go. So when I was thinking about this project, I knew I wanted the gingerbread men to have some thickness to them and not just be like plywood cutouts. So I decided that foam board insulation would be perfect because it's easy to cut and it's like just the right thickness. It's like an inch and a half, something like that. I don't know. But before I cut them out, I'm going to make a template just out of thick paper. This paper was a little bit too small, so I ended up kind of cutting his head off a little bit, but it works fine. Now, originally I was going to do just one like larger gingerbread man, but they really kind of travel in packs. If you've seen the movie, you know what I mean. So I decided to make 3 smaller ones that kind of go together. So I'm just going to take my template, trace out the 3 gingerbread men onto the foam board, and then we will cut them out. Foam board is really easy to cut through. You can use like a long box cutter, or I've used a serrated bread knife in the past. But we just happened to get super lucky this week at the swap shed. I know we have a bunch of new people here, so if you haven't heard me talk about the swap shed yet, you are welcome to listen to me ramble about the swap shed. I talk about it a lot because it's like awesome. It's basically like an area of our local transfer station / dump where people just bring things they don't want anymore. And we have gotten so many awesome things from there. But as I always say, you have to leave things too. Like you have to have good swap shed karma in order to receive the things that you really want. So anyway, what I'm trying to say is we got a scroll saw at the swap shed this week for free. Everything's free. And this is just like the best possible tool for this job. So we're learning as we go. This is our first time using this thing. Drew is a quick learner, and even I tried it out a little bit. I was a little intimidated, but I got the hang of it. So we got these guys all cut out beautifully, and now they're ready for the next step. And my next concern is that I want these to be fairly waterproof. I'm going to be painting them, obviously, but applying paint directly to the foam isn't really an option because foam board tends to like dissolve when you add paint to it. It just eats it away. So I need to seal these first. And I explored a bunch of different options for that. I watched some different YouTube videos. It seems like there's a lot of prop makers and cosplayers out there that use foam board in a lot of their projects. So there's like a ton of different ideas. But this is the one that I settled on. It's tacky glue and cornstarch. That's it. I came across a video, I'll link it in the description, of this lady who was trying out a couple different methods of sealing, and this gave such a nice thick seal, and it's such a cheap option, which you guys know is like my top priority. So I was like, okay, this is what we're doing. Now, she didn't give exact measurements or anything, so I just kind of winged it. But I put about a bottle of tacky glue in this dollar store bowl. And then I'd say I added probably about maybe close to 1/4 cup of cornstarch, maybe a little less. It reminded me so much of when I used to take cake classes and we had to make buttercream frosting, because the way you mix it and everything, it's like makes the stiff peaks. If you've ever taken a cake class, you know, stiff peaks. So I sort of used that as like a guide. And when it had stiff peaks and like a sticky frosting texture, that's when I started to spread it on. And it is sticky, you guys. I kept thinking about this old SNL sketch where Bobby Moynihan is a bartender and he keeps saying how sticky the bar is. And he's like, it's like Spider-Man was up in here. Oh God, I love that one. Anyway, I got a nice layer on here. It was a little bit tricky to spread, but I noticed that as you are working with it, it kind of like spreads itself out as it's drying and settling. Like the brush marks go away and everything, and it just kind of like lays there. So you don't really have to worry about it being perfect. Just make sure you have all the coverage you need. And then I did let it dry for a complete like 24 hours before I did the other side. And this is how they looked after they were all dry. They have like a little bit of a shine to them. You can't really even see that they're coated with anything, but they are. It's a pretty thick layer. One of these guys got dirty when we were cutting him out, but that's okay because we're just going to paint him next anyway. So let's move on. Of course, I did not have any brown paint on hand. I have so many little crafting paints, but of course I was out of brown. So I ended up just mixing a bunch of them together. But I did have a set of puffy paints that I bought for a previous project that I'm going to use on these guys. I think it's going to be perfect. That dimensional look for their like decorations and everything is going to give them, you know, more of like an icing feel. So I am excited to use those. And I know that I want at least one of them to look pretty much just like the Krampus, the main Krampus gingerbread guy, the one that they use in a lot of the images and the promotional stuff, that kind of thing. So I'm going to try to make one of them look just like that guy. And then the other two, we can just kind of do whatever, as long as they still look, you know, kind of evil or injured in some way. In the movie, they're like Krampus's little sidekicks. So they're like adorable little fighters. And a lot of them end up hurt or burned or whatever. One of them's going to have an exposed rib cage like I have on the one on my shirt. And one of them's going to have a bite taken out of his head. So it's going to be cool, you guys. I'm excited. Okay, I think they are all done. I set them on like a drying rack. I let them dry for, again, another 24 hours just to make sure the puffy paint is like really dry. So let's go outside and find a place to put them. Well, first of all, we got a little bit of a dusting of snow yesterday, which is lovely. We are supposed to get more snow tomorrow. I think we're supposed to get a couple inches. But then next week it's going to be in the 50s again. So who knows? We might have a white Christmas. We might not. We'll see. But anyway, I need to find a spot to put these guys. And I need to figure out how to attach them. So I'm kind of thinking I might want to put them on this post here. It's not supposed to be sticking up like that. It's supposed to be cut like the other one. But it happens to be like this, so I thought, well, let's take advantage of it. Maybe I'll just have them like kind of stacked on there. That's my number one option. And then, or maybe I put them like on the lattice here. I don't know. I think I'm going to go with that post. As far as attaching them, I originally thought zip ties. Then I thought maybe I'll just like tie a string around them, but they're not the same width as the post and everything. I found these nails in the shed, and they're long enough to nail them in, and they're the same color. I think I'm just gonna do that. I know it kind of defeats the purpose of them looking, not sealing it up and everything, but I don't know. I think it's gonna be fine. You know how we roll. We just roll around here. So we work with what we have. So I think I'm gonna do that. Okay, so here's how it turned out. I love it. I think they are so cute. I kind of wish I had maybe 2 more to go down the pole so that it would be more filled out, but whatever, it doesn't matter. That's a project for another day. Actually, this project was intended to be a lot bigger. I was going to do a full-size Krampus cutout board thing to go with this, like actual Krampus. But we just didn't have time, you guys. That's a really big project. I think I'm going to save it for next year. So anyway, I really like how these turned out. I love my little gingerbread minions, or whatever you want to call them. Gingerdead men. Little army of vicious gingerbread men. I love them. I hope you guys like them. Let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know if you have any questions about how I made everything. This was a really fun project. I hope I'll be able to get at least one more Christmas-themed DIY video up before Christmas this year. I did want to take a minute and say thank you to everyone that is new that came over from my kitchen redo video. I was so nervous to put that up because we do not live in like a perfect, camera-ready house. So I am so appreciative of all the kind responses to that. I do have a ton of stuff that I need to get done in my house. So I will be sharing a lot more of that type of content coming up in the future. I'm working on a project right now that should be done probably in a couple weeks. So I think I'll have another little redo video for you guys up in a couple of weeks. Thank you again for joining me. I'm so happy to have you here, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.